Hello Libra, this is your tarot reading for April, coming from the mountains of Java. Libra, I hope you get something out of this, I really do. And if you do, if you could subscribe, hit the like button, pass a comment. It'll help me with the algorithms, which I don't do so very well on. But above all, Libra, this is for you. I just really hope that you get something from it. You may well be asking, why from Java? What's important about tarot from Java? And the truth is, there is nothing so important about tarot from Java. Simply that here in Java, we have many different spirits who will come to help in your tarot reading. It'll probably put a different reflection on things. For example, the spirits here are less likely to be concerned about love and finances, despite people in Java being every bit as interested in these things as the rest of us. But maybe the spirits are trying to tell us something else. Now I'll be using probably 2 decks, but out of 3 decks. So the first deck is Tarot Nusantara, the second deck is the Steampunk deck, and the third deck is the Light Visions Tarot. Tarot Nusantara is actually a new one to me, which I love, whereas the Light Visions I've struggled with as a result of the rendering. Although I think I'll grow into it, I will keep using it and coming back to it. You can see on all of them I'm using quite a lot of salt, and that's to clear the energy and the spirits from them, something that I do fairly regularly with my tarot. And I also, you'll see a number of Jimat there that I use just to bring a good energy to the tarot and to my reading. Perhaps the most important mystical object we use in Java is the kris, the curly knife that you can see that I've placed across both decks. Kris are very important for bringing the spirits to work on any object here in Java. And I call on the spirits of the mountain to assist me in shuffling the cards, in selecting the right cards and interpret them correctly for Libra for April 2022. Libra, this looks like an interesting spread. Not everything is brilliant, but I suspect it's all well that ends well. The overall energy is that of the Ten of Wands. You feel like you're carrying an extra burden. You probably feel tired, but you do know that an end is in sight, and that runs throughout the entire reading, that energy. In the past, we have the Knight of Swords, brave, fast-moving, courageous, maybe rushes into things a little bit. Your current energy is the Death card, an abrupt ending to something. The energy of the future is the Six of Cups, maybe reminiscing, certainly looking to the past. Maybe people in the past, maybe even a past love. The energy impacting on the outcome is the Queen of Swords. She's a queen that is well respected for her judgment. A queen that's firm but fair. Maybe it's about setting boundaries. The energy that would negatively impact on the outcome is the Five of Wands. An energy of conflict, an energy of people pulling in different ways. And the outcome is justice. Now this could be justice in a court of law, it could simply be a karmic type of justice. I don't know if it's for you or against you. I get the impression that it's in your favour, which is why I think it's all's well that ends well. But let us see, I think we need to look at each card individually. Yeah, Libra, this Ten of Wands is an energy that runs through everything, and so I need to interpret all the other cards in relation to it. If you look at him, he's carrying those 10 wands. He's maybe not bound them or carrying them as well as he could. He's struggling a bit. So it's like you're carrying an extra burden, maybe even feel that you're carrying all the problems of the world on your shoulders. You're struggling a bit, you're finding it a bit difficult, but if you look, he can see his home in the distance, so he knows he's nearly there. A 10 says you're nearly at the end of your journey, and you know that. You can perceive that. And as I say, it runs through every card. So it's an interesting card to have in this position. In your recent past, Libra, we have the King of Swords. Brave, fearless. Very fast moving, maybe a little bit too fast moving. Maybe get yourself into situations that you haven't really thought about. It's a sort of an act now and think later type of card. You look at him, he's on a horse, there's clearly fast movement, really fast movement. Got his sword out, he's ready for action, isn't he? He's ready for action. He's rushing into things, and he is fearless. Have you rushed into something? I don't know. But it's possible. Now, the current energy is the Death card, which, I mean, it could mean a death, but I don't think it does. Other tarot readers will tell you it doesn't mean death, but I mean, it is an abrupt ending. Probably a painful ending. I used to think this particular rendering, there was nothing to say nice about it. There's Death on his horse, charging through with his scythe and killing people. But that old man is standing up to him, isn't he? And in the background is a Hindu temple. So I don't know what it's an ending to. Certainly not at this moment in time. And of course, from endings, there's new beginnings. So remembering that the overall energy is the Ten of Swords, which is saying something is coming to an end. I'm not certain we should interpret this that badly, or at least not yet. Now, your future energy is the Six of Cups. It's a card of reminiscence. It's a card of looking to the past. It's a card of probably thinking of people from the past, maybe even loves from the past. So I wonder, remembering that we had that Knight of Swords, possibly rushing into things, and then we've had the Death card, the end of something. I'm wondering if the past is very, very important in this reading, and you're reflecting on it. Normally, I'd say this is looking at the past through rose-coloured spectacles. But I don't know if that's the right way to see it. The reason I say that, you look at this card, 6 cups full of flowers, the mother and the daughter dressed beautifully and complementary, look very happy together. Are they dancing together? Could be. Father's on guard, so there's a sense of security there. Got a lovely house. Looks like a Hindu temple there. So everything feels very good about the past, but I'm not certain that on this particular spread that's how it should be interpreted. I don't know. And the energy impacting on the outcome, Libra, is the Queen of Swords. Now, the Queen of Swords is a clever queen. She's a queen that people come to for opinions, even adjudications. Because she's got a reputation for being firm but fair. You look at her, she's sitting on that throne. She is dressed very beautifully as well. But the thing that strikes me is that she's got that sword up like that. It's a don't mess with me, isn't it? So it could be a card of setting boundaries, and that's what the feeling I'm getting from it. Because she doesn't even have to say it, does she? Because she could have a broad smile on her face, and she could be the friendliest queen possible. But if she's holding a sword up like that, you wouldn't mess with her, would you? You wouldn't overstep those boundaries. And I think that's what we should read into it. But It's early days. Now, the energy that would negatively affect the outcome is the Five of Wands. It's a card of conflict, but you know, it's a sort of conflict where people are all trying to do something and either they don't have the same vision or they don't have the same tactics. So they're all trying to do it in different ways and it's counterproductive. And it's as though they need that vision creating for them to do it effectively. You look at it, look. They're all attempting to do something, but there's no coordination there, is there? Now, they've got black and white sarongs on, which would imply Newcastle United. But whenever I see this card now, I think of Manchester United. You've got a team there of some very, very gifted individuals. But they're all pulling in different directions, fighting with each other, backbiting each other, including with the management, the management structure, even the ownership of United. Everything feels wrong. Everything feels wrong. And that's the energy from this card. That's the energy from this card. Libra, the outcome is the Justice card. It might be actual justice through a court of law. And you look at her, I mean, she's got the scales of justice there, hasn't she? She's also got a kris in her hand. Kris were traditionally used in Indonesia for executions. They put a pad of cotton on the shoulder and they plunge the kris through the shoulder straight into the heart. Death was nearly instantaneous. Now, I'm not suggesting that anybody's going to die as a result of this justice, but justice is coming. I mean, it might simply be karma, but justice is coming. Now, we don't know if you're going to be punished, and if you are, you've got nothing to fear. It'll be fair but fair, just as the Queen, we've said, is. So if you repent, you've got nothing to worry about. Do you know, I was thinking that the justice was coming in your favour, but given that Queen, I'm having second thoughts now. I'm not so sure. I mean, it could be justice in your favour. It could be justice in your favour. What's it justice for? Well, we don't know, but it feels like there was something in the past. Now, if you have done wrong, I think it's connected to this Knight of Swords. You rushed into doing something that you probably now regret. But I think we've got to have some clarification before I go too far on this. The clarification I seek is on the Death card, because I think if we can understand that, then we can understand the rest. First card we get is the Five of Cups, a card of despair, but maybe a card of regret. Interesting. We now have the Page of Swords. That's you moving on, possibly dumping some baggage. And then we have a Two of Wands, a card of making decisions, scanning things that you should be doing. Interesting. Let's look at each individually. So the first card of clarity is this Five of Cups, a card of despair, but more than anything, a card of regret. And I think that's important here. I think you are regretting a decision from the past. I think you're regretting a decision that you made because things didn't turn out as you wanted. Now, that might be because of there was conflict, because of other people caused you problems. But I think you rushed into something, didn't give it enough thought, and it caused problems for others. And so things didn't turn out as you wanted them to. Maybe if things had turned out as you wanted, you know, everything would be fine, but they didn't. And of course, this is confirming the Death card. So, you know, we don't know what it was, but let's say it was a business or a job. I think you rushed into it Yeah, I think you rushed into it and now you're regretting it. If it was a job, why would there be the Justice card? I mean, it could be the job wasn't all that you thought and you're going to get rewarded for having stuck it out for... Well, no, it's come to an end, hasn't it? It's come to an end. So it's about an ending. So if it's a business, maybe you went into a business venture too hastily. Maybe it wasn't 100% ethical. Maybe. You look at the card, it is a depressing card, isn't it? You know, he's there, he's drunk at least 3 goblets of wine. And the barmaid's saying, haven't you got a home to go to? And he's going, no. You know, it really is that sort of a card, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, things have come to an end. And you're regretting it. And the next card we have is the Page of Swords. And this is saying it's time to move on. So, I mean, everything in this reading has been about you moving on. I wonder if you do feel hard done by. I wonder if the justice is coming in your favour. Because this is sort of saying, move on, dump the baggage, forgive people, stop looking for retribution. Because, you know, the strange thing is, if you do that, the justice will probably come. But if you're holding on to wanting retribution, then justice won't come for you. Yes, and of course we have the 5 of Wands, which is conflict. So if you get involved in conflict with whatever caused this bitter ending, then you won't get justice. So don't hold on to things. You're being told, move on, release them. You look at her, she's about to get into that balloon. So the balloon will take her somewhere else. It's moving on. But in order to do that, she has to dump those sandbags. So things, you have to release things in order to move on. Yeah. So I don't think it is you that's done wrong. I think you're feeling wronged. But this card is saying, no, just release it. Just release it. And now we have the 2 of Wands. And I think you are planning things. You are planning progression. You're planning to make a decision. But you're not quite ready to do it yet. So it's saying that you're not quite ready to move on. Yeah. But you're planning your next move. So if, as I say, if you can release the baggage, then things will go well. But if you can't, it won't. You've got a decision to make. You've got choices to make. I mean, maybe, you know, you lost a lot of money and you're thinking, well, I've got to get that money back, because if I don't get the money back, what the hell am I going to do, you know? But it's better to forget about it and plan without it. And if you do, you may well get the money back. Yeah. So it's a planning card, but it's saying, well, and planning's not a bad thing to do. But what I think you're torn between is retribution and moving on. And very clearly you're being told, move on. Very clearly. You look at the card, well, he's pondering between those 2 lights, isn't he? He's up on a mountain, looks like the Jungfrau, doesn't it? Now, I don't think it was this rendering, but somebody said it looks like he's about to jump off, but I don't think he is, for one, and certainly not on this rendering. No, he's just contemplating things, and it looks rather beautiful down there, actually, but, you know, he's deep in thought. He's deep in thought. He is feeling hard done by, isn't he? Very much so, feeling hard done by, yeah. Yeah, it's not you that's done wrong, so you've been wronged, and you're feeling it. Libra, something happened in the past and you rushed into something and it didn't go as you wanted it to. In fact, I think you feel cheated. I mean, it could be about money, it could be a job, we don't know what it is. But you took a decision and you're regretting that decision now. You're regretting what you did, because whatever you did came to an end. And it was an abrupt and quite a painful ending. And all you're doing is thinking about it. And to a certain degree, I think you're looking for retribution. But the universe is turning around to you and saying, no, move on, dump the baggage. And maybe you will get what you want as a result. Now, I've got a feeling that maybe you lost money, because it feels as though you feel like you can't move on because you don't have the money to. But you have to. You have to plan a life without that money. And paradoxically, if you do plan a life without that money, it may come back to you. But you're finding it hard to move on. You're finding it hard to take this decision. And there's a possibility that the person, if you were betrayed, the person who betrayed you is somebody you knew from the past. Maybe even a former love. There's just a possibility of that, because you're certainly reminiscing. And what it's left you with, you feel like you're carrying the burdens of the world. So, for example, maybe you had a great job and you were offered this other job, you rushed into it and it didn't last. And now you're struggling to pay the bills. You know, life's quite difficult now. Now, if you keep arguing, looking for retribution, you're not going to get it. It's not going to get you anywhere. However, if you learn from this, are magnanimous, move on, but set boundaries for the future. Don't let this happen. Just say, I've learned from this, I mustn't rush in like I did. And the paradox is, if you can release it like that, you're going to get justice. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that the person who harmed you is going to get punished and you will get your money back. No, it could simply mean you get another wonderful job, if it was a job. Or you come into some money that you weren't expecting, but something's going to happen to balance the scales, as it were. So I think it is all well that ends well, but yeah, you're going to go through it a bit during the month of April, Libra. Well, I do hope you've enjoyed Tarot from Java as an addition to my channel, The Magic of Java. Please take a look at the other videos that I have on this channel about magic from Java, and I hope that you will become a subscriber. Now, if you want to hear your next tarot reading, hit the button, and that will inform you of when I publish new readings. I'm certainly going to do a reading for every month, but maybe I will try them a bit more frequently, say a mid-month reading, and maybe also some special readings. But above all, thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you, and enjoy Java.